What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Jake, your favorite investor. And on this presentation, I'm going to show you how I'm going to make $50,000 on a flip that I acquired while I was on a cruise. I'm doing it with other people's money, never going to step foot inside of it. And I've got a lot of key pieces in place that are going to do a lot of the key work while I'm playing chess with the chess pieces on a beautiful chessboard. So if you don't know me, my 30-second intro, I'm Jake Leicht, been flipping houses, doing residential real estate, wholesales flips, BRRR, which means you flip a house and convert it to a rental. I'm a landlord. I do all that kind of stuff. A little bit of STR too, which means short-term rentals like Airbnb. I've been doing it for a while. I did not grow up with money. When I started in this business, I was broke. I've gone up and down quite a bit in this game, especially in my earlier years, but I've figured some stuff out that makes this game predictable and replicatable. You know, you can repeat the process over and over. My grammar ain't too good. I don't read that good, but I can flip houses with the best of them. We're almost at 1,000 flips. Hooray. But on this one was extra special because I bought it while I was going on a cruise. And so I want to show you how I did that, increase my net worth by 50K while I was on vacation, and some of the things that I learned from it, as well as some of the teachable moments, so you can go out there, apply this stuff to your business. Whether you're brand new starting out or you've already done a few flips and you're looking to scale, this stuff works, right? If I could do it, anybody could do it. So anyway, this is how it looked when it came across my desk, okay? I would say it was about a week and a half before the cruise. Property, it's an open market property, means they listed a for sale sign in the front yard. My agent reached out to me and said, hey, I think we should make a move on this property. I said, what's the after repair value? She told me she thought it was about $395. Okay, I said, can you send me comparable properties? Now, as a timeout, like Zach Morris, timeout, an after repair value is what the property, even if I'm buying it in trash condition, what the property can and probably will sell for once I've renovated it and put it back on the market to sell. Okay, it's a predictable process. The after repair value, ARV, is determined by looking at the data in the neighborhood over the last 6 months. So if I look at similar properties to mine, same size, same age, similar year built, not exactly the same, but usually if there's a 2-bed, 1-bathroom, 1,000 square foot house built in 1965, throughout that neighborhood, you're gonna find a lot of those. That's how these builders build neighborhoods, right? There's similar floor plans and that kind of thing. So you wanna find stuff sold in the last 6 months, with all that criteria, and typically you'll see if there's numerous properties that have sold that are the same, that are apples to apples, they're typically going for the same price point. That checks out whether it's in a good neighborhood, good school district, bad school district, close to the freeway, not close to the freeway, booming economy, terrible economy. What we do is we ride the wave that's already there. And fortunately for all of us, determining what that wave looks like is relatively simple, okay? So in looking at the neighborhood, I saw that there were like 4 or 5 properties over the last 6 months that have sold that were similar characteristics to mine. They sold anywhere from, I think at the low, $375, and those are the ones that were not renovated, but they were clean. They didn't have central heat and air, and they didn't have garages. But then the ones that had garages had central heat and air, and had a decent renovation job. They were selling for $388, $390, $392, and $395. I think the $395 was a little bit bigger, okay? So for me, she sent that property. I went and typed up some stuff, looked at Redfin, and I was like, oh, this house can sell for $390, all right? Now, this is called the universal formula. We're gonna go over it super quickly. Let's see if I can get it done in 3 minutes. So I always start with this number, okay? The after repair value, $390. I'm not a real estate agent. This is clear across the country. And so typically when you sell a house, the real estate agent that represents you as the seller, they get usually about 2.5% in commission. And then as a seller, you also pay the buyer's agent another 2.5%. So in total, it's about 5% commission. And that we pay those real estate agents after the property sells, like the new buyer brings the money in, the title company gives them their commission before they give us everything else, okay? So 5% of 390, I think that's 19,500. Just to keep things accurate here, I bumped it up to 20 grand. So if I sell for 390, 20 grand comes off the top. It's chopped up between the 2 agents. And then also we call seller's closing costs. It's usually between 1% and 2% of the transaction amount. So it's between 390 or 3,900, and that would be 7,800. I just said to keep everything even again, I put about 5,000 bucks. And that's also only paid once we sell the house. So this house comes across my desk. It has a resale value of 390 grand once it's in good condition. The agents get about 20 grand. The title company, in order to coordinate the transaction, put insurance on the property, pay property taxes. It's another 5 grand that comes off the top. So if I sell it for 390, realistically about $365,000 comes out of it, okay? That's what I need to see at first. I can do that in about 2 seconds. I have a calculator that does it. You can get it for free. Find my social media pages. Relatively simple to find. It's a game-changing tool, the calculator. The free Ultimate Flip Calculator. You go search it somewhere and you find that, okay? Now, the listing of this property was $300,000. Now, at 300 grand, even, there's a $90,000 difference between what they're selling it for and what it's worth at the end of the day. But once you have all these little hidden fees in here, it comes pretty tight. And as a house flipper, I'm doing this for profit, okay? It's not like a charitable thing. Like, I'm trying to make money doing it. This is my lifestyle by design. The reason I can go on a cruise and, do the things that I do with my family and buy my time back is because I'm making money doing this. And I'm providing to the community because I take beat up houses and I sell them for the price point that they're actually worth based on what the market tells us, right? And so we're putting people into their dream homes. We're taking the house that they can't get financing for because it's in too bad of shape. We're putting renovation into it and we're making a beautiful home. We make money. New buyer has their dream home. Everybody goes home happy, okay? But they're asking 300, and just based on looking at the pictures in that specific area, I estimated that it would take about 40,000 bucks in renovation or rehab if I was to hire a contractor to put it into that 390 condition, okay? So purchase price, rehab costs. We also have closing costs, which is also between 1% and 2% of the transaction amount. I'm gonna say about 3,000 bucks. And we have holding costs, which are vacant property insurance, utilities, gas, sewer, water for the 6 months that this project is gonna last. And so if I'm putting that, and that's everything you're putting into a flip. So if I'm buying it for 300, which is what they're asking, putting 40 grand into it, which is what I'm estimating based on the pictures, have 3,000 bucks in closing costs and 3,000 bucks in holding costs, then I'm all into this flip for 346 grand, okay? And once I flip it, after all those fees, I bring $365,000 out of it. So my profit, if I'm using my own cash, is $19,000. Now for me, anytime I'm flipping a house, I want to make a minimum, at least on my projections, of 10% of this number. So I want to make 39,000 bucks. Right now I'm making 19,000 bucks. And I also need to use private money, so there's going to be interest that I have to pay them that brings that number down. So this isn't a deal on paper, but that's fine because the asking price for any property is just the beginning of a conversation. Okay, it's like them saying hello. If I'm going to say hello back, I may do it in a different tonality, which means if they're saying hello with a $300,000 asking price, I may respond to them by saying hello with a lower amount. This is how real estate is played, right? Like they're trying to get that and I'm trying to get it for something else. But what I like about this property is consistently in the neighborhood, the trends show me I can resell it for 390,000 bucks based on a 2-minute search on redfin.com or zillow.com, okay? So I saw it, I said, hey, Kim's the agent. I said, Kim, they're asking 300 grand. I'm not gonna pay them 300 grand. She's like, I know that, I've been working with you for a while. But she brought it across my desk because 1, it's beat up, and 2, it's got very consistent resale value trend. And so I ran the numbers, I put it together. I said, how come this hasn't sold yet? She said, well, they had it under contract, but there was a brand new investor that was doing it. And the investor was scared, right? By the way, time out, right? By the way, scared investors, it's the biggest tragedy I feel, in my humble opinion. Scared investors is such a tragedy because everything, real estate investing, everything is there for you, right? For me, for anybody out there that understands how to run these numbers. But so many brand new real estate investors, they look at it and, they may have done a YouTube search on how to run numbers, or some agent, maybe they read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or, went online and saw a video and they're like, I want to start flipping houses. And maybe an agent is trying to persuade them. If someone doesn't have their numbers down, then it can produce fear because they're not certain of what their desired outcome is. When we run our numbers correctly, there's certainty with it. This is proven. I'm at almost 1,000 deals running this same little formula here, and I made money almost all the time. I have lost money before, don't get me wrong. I've learned the hard way what to do, what not to do. But if I stay true to this formula and the process that I've been lucky enough to teach thousands of people all over the country, like if I follow the steps, I'll make money. Now, if there's somebody that's brand new, not only if they don't have the process in place, as far as the numbers are concerned, they may have a little fear, but also people just freak out on doing something new. They question themselves. They question whether they're good enough or smart enough or strong enough. I think the school system makes us do that. They never teach this stuff in schools. You don't have to have a degree to do this. But those brand new investors, when they get scared, when they get cold feet, it breaks my heart. Because I remember when I first started, I had $700 in my bank account, terrible credit, no money, I had a little bit of knowledge because I learned this kind of stuff, but I was so scared and I was tempted to run away and say, you know what, I can't do this. I should have listened to that guy when I tried to go to college, and the head of the business department was like, hey, what does your dad do? I was like, my dad's on disability, he's on Social Security. He's like, oh. And he was like, well, your parents don't do much and you're not standing out. Maybe you should look for another major, right? Like, it's things like that that haunt us a lot of the times, make us question our own ability to follow a tried and true process that gets results for people just like us all the time. What's going on up here a lot of times prevents us. It's like the ignorance tax. There's an ignorance tax that, we lose money on when we don't know how to do stuff like this. But there's also an ignorance tax that we lose money on or lose opportunity on when we don't understand what's going on up here and in here and don't really understand the true potential of what we're capable of. Anyway, rant over, time back in. So with this property, scared investor backed out of the deal. They really wanted to sell it. So what I did is I came in, I'll do it with this marker. I came in, instead of offering 300 grand, I offered 270 grand. Assuming the same number, everything else is the same. So instead of being at 346, when I'm at 270, I decrease my total project cost by 30 grand. So I'm at 316, which means my potential profit isn't 19. Now it's 49. And that gets us pretty darn close. Okay, so I decreased my purchase price, which decreased my total project costs by 30 grand, which in turn increases my potential profit by 30 grand. Now I want to make $39,000 or more, but what I'm doing is just submitting the offer so I can get in there. I want control of the contract, control of the house, right? The control of the contract that secures the house, so I can get my contractors, my team in there, get some real numbers and figure out what I want to do. Now, during my inspection period, which is typically 7 to 14 days, if the numbers don't work out, I can back out of the deal. No harm, no foul. Just try to go and get the next one. But there's a lot of options, and let me show you what that means. So they accepted my offer at 270, which means my total project costs are 316. And based on my resale number, that means I could make a potential $49,000 on this deal. And I gave myself, I think they agreed to a 5-day inspection period. So I sent a ton of contractors in there during those 5 days. I sent this deal to a ton of different lenders and I sent it to a ton of different real estate agents. I want to see if I'm missing anything based on my hypothesis. Remember, I determined this by looking at Redfin for 2 minutes. I determined my rehab costs by looking at pictures for about 30 seconds. Like, I want to know if I'm seeing this correctly. So contractors went in there. I got bids as low as $38,000 with contractors I wasn't really sold on. I got bids as high as $47,000 on contractors that I was sold on. The contractor that came in, I got 4 bids, but the contractor that came in at 47, I ended up talking to him and he got down to $45,000. And I knew that if that contractor did that work, and I've worked with that contractor before, I know if that contractor did it, it would get done on time. It would get done based on how we were looking at, what we needed to do to get 390 out of it. So let me show you how this stuff changed. So instead of 40, we were now at $45,000, okay? Now, another thing is because I was looking at Redfin, I missed 2 different properties that sold in that neighborhood recently. One sold for $400,000 and one sold for $402,000. And I didn't catch those. And so my after repair value actually went up to $400,000. Okay. So on this side, my $316,000 total project cost went up by $5,000. So now we're at $311,000. So let's go. Now we're at 311, which is great. That gives us more room in our profit. And on this side, our after repair value went up by $10,000. And remember, 5% goes to the real estate agents. We rounded this up, so we're still at 20 grand, and our closing costs on the seller side still stay right around the same. So our 365 went up to 375 that we can get out of this deal. Okay, the difference between 311 and 375, that's 75 minus 11 is 65, 64. So now we're at $64,000. Okay, now that gives me a lot more room. But one thing that I did do before I saw that I had missed some comparable properties is this number went up. The rehab number did go up. So I got this wrong. It was 270 plus 45 equals 315, 318, 321. Sorry about that. So 321 to 375, that's $54,000. Good thing I left room on this scratch paper. So we're at $54,000. Okay, and I need to bring a lender in, and all these lenders wanted it, but at the end of the day, I also needed to make sure that I'm making 10% of this number or more in order to have the wiggle room that I need if I sold it for less or renovation costs get out of hand or something happens like that, okay? So I told them that during my inspection period, I said, look, there's a lot that just popped up. Instead of 270, I need it for 260. And I need you to let me know quickly because I'm going to back out of this deal if you can't do that. But if you can do that, I need to know right now because I'm going on a cruise. I'm going to be in the middle of the ocean and you're not going to be able to get me to sign my documents to close this thing on time if I'm in the middle of the ocean pretty much. So they actually said yes. And it was the night before. So my family and I, we went on a cruise to Mexico and the Bahamas. We had to fly from Tennessee to Miami. And in Miami, we stayed there for a day. We got a hotel in Miami for a day, and we were leaving on the cruise early the next morning. So I flew out, I'm checking into the hotel, and they could do this, right? They agreed to it, but they agreed real late. And they had to send a notary for me to sign the documents that I needed. This house is clear across the country. It's on the West Coast. I'm in the furthest part of the East Coast that you could possibly imagine. And so my new numbers, 260 plus 45 is 305. Plus 3 is 308, plus 3 is 311. So, boop. 311 is our final number, which means we're back to $64,000 in potential profit, which means I can pay my lenders up to $24,000 of my profit and still be hitting my $40,000 minimum. Now, what was really cool about this, there's 2 things that were really cool. Number one, I was taking an Uber from the airport to the hotel, and the notary's calling me, says, I got like a 15 to 20 minute window. I said, well, I'm going to the hotel and I got to check in, and we're there early. And so I'm in this line at the hotel. My kids are going crazy. I got 3 kids. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, have them sit aside. Let me go deal with this with getting checked in. Some notary's going to come in too. So I get to the front of this line, and it's hectic in there. A lot of people are trying to check in early. I guess people are going there for the cruise as well. I pull out my ID, and I need the ID to sign my documents as well as to check into the room. The notary gets there while I'm in line. I'm talking to him on the phone, I'm like, hey, I'm in line, I'm next in line. So I get there to check in, I give my ID to the lady at the front desk at the hotel, and the notary's there. I'm signing the documents over here to the side while I'm trying to check in with her. And this lady, straight up, the notary's like, hey, can you pass me that ID after you're done with it? So they don't even give me my ID back. The front desk lady passes my ID to the notary. The notary's taking a picture of my ID to confirm my identity. And they're passing it back and forth while I'm sitting there in line doing 3 things at once, trying to get ready. I mean, I'm in vacation mode. I'm not trying to think about a lot of this stuff. I had lenders that were ready to go. Like, everything's ready. I just need to sign these documents. And so I signed the documents, and they passed it back and forth. The guy was out, me and my wife and my kids. I told Carlene, hey, the room's ready. And I signed the documents. We're on vacation mode. My lenders are dealing with the title company to fund the deal. The real estate agent knows what to do with the contractor that we picked. Let's go. So that was one thing. So that happened, and we left for the cruise the next morning. It was like a 6-day cruise. And so we're on the thing, and I got an email on the cruise that said, hey, we closed on this property. So all my lenders wired their money in. You know, everybody did what they were supposed to do. I signed the documents that I needed to while I'm in line, and they're passing my ID back and forth. And I realized I never told my lender that I got that $10,000 price reduction. And I'm on the cruise, you know, maybe having an alcoholic beverage or 5. And with my wife, I'm like, oh man, I got to call Paul. Paul's the main lender. I said, Paul, hey, listen, we got an updated purchase price. I wanted to let you know. I'm sorry I didn't let you know beforehand. Things are chaotic. We got kids. We left the airport at like 5 a.m. trying to check into this hotel, and things are crazy. But I got a $10,000 price reduction, and they were going to fund the deal even at $270,000, but it just didn't fit my criteria. So I tried to get that number down. And he said something to me, and I was like, oh, that's the most awesome thing that I've heard for quite some time. He's like, oh, that's great. That's a great deal anyway. Like, thanks for letting me know. But you know what you just did, Jake? I was like, what, Paul? He's like, you just paid for your cruise by getting $10,000 in extra profit. Like, you got a price reduction, so that's 10 grand of extra cash in my pocket. You paid for your cruise. I was like, huh, you know what? You're right. I'm going to tell my wife, and then we're going to go to the casino tonight. By the way, on cruises, like, you can take your kids to this kids area where they've got like babysitters and chaperones, and they're playing games with them. They also have casinos there. I like to play a little bit of blackjack every once in a while, but we had a blast on the cruise. But I bought this property, and I'm going to make, at the end of the day, the lender's probably going to make 14, 15 grand over the 6 months based on my interest payments to them. I'll probably make 50 grand at the end of the day. You know, and I gave myself a raise. I gave myself a $10,000 raise while I'm on this ship. It made me feel so comfortable going to the casino and getting my drinks and having fun and doing excursions with the kids in Mexico and the Bahamas. And we all had a good time. And this property is going. The contractor's there doing work. Contractors dealing with the lenders on getting paid for the work because the lender controls the rehab budget. The real estate agent is texting me pictures every week to show me the progress. And this is just about a week and a half ago. That's why you see this beautiful tan, you guys. But, you know, it's interesting because let me summarize some of the cool things. One, I gave myself a raise just by asking for a price reduction and getting it. Number 2, I'm flipping this house using 100% other people's money with lenders that are begging for me to send them more deals that they can fund. So I'm doing this, increasing my net worth with every deal that we do by 40, 50, 60,000 bucks, where a lender is fronting the bill for it. The contractor loves it because 45 grand is not what it costs them. It probably costs a contractor about 30 to 35 grand. Contractor gets a $10,000 profit off of it. The real estate agent that I'm working with, you know, the real estate agent gets a commission when I buy. The seller paid them a commission when I bought the property, and I'm paying her a commission when I resell the property. And at the end of the day, the new buyer at about 400,000 bucks is going to get their dream house in an area where if they would have tried to buy it in the condition that it was in, their bank would have rejected them, right? There's so many cool things, and it's because there's this systematic, there's this repeatable approach that we do over and over and over again, that another investor that had this under contract, and I don't know what price point they had it under contract for, they were just so scared to get out of their own way. Now, I don't know if this investor was brand new and broke like I was when I first started, or maybe they had a 9 to 5 and they're going to the same job, the same office for 10, 15, 20 years, and they just got freaked out about doing something new, about taking a risk, making an investment of time, effort, attention into themselves. But whatever it was, I went in there with my strategy that's worked over and over and over, works for thousands of other people. And I was able to lock this in, no cash out of my pocket, letting experts do what they're good at, which is the real estate agent, the lender, and the contractor. And at the end of the day, they get paid and I get everything that's left over, which at the end of the day is going to be close to $50,000. Okay, this is how the game is played. Now listen, guys, if you want to learn how to do this, I can help. Now, if you're one of those people that's like, hey, I'd love to be a top 1% real estate investor, but I'm not willing to do the work required, this isn't for you, okay? If you're somebody that, you don't have, let's say, $600 per month that you can have an expendable income and invest into your business resources to grow your business or start your business, or into coaching and mentorship, this offer is probably not for you. If you're somebody that can't give, let's say, 5 to 10 hours per week to grow a business that buys you financial freedom, buys you a lifestyle by design, probably ain't for you. If you're somebody, let's say you're a real estate agent or a hard money lender, and you don't see value in learning how to do this so you can attack the deals that are already coming to your desk anyway for your clients and so forth, like if you're not willing to go out there and add these tools to your tool belt, this ain't for you. But if you understand that it's going to take a little bit, I'm not saying it's going to take 24 hours a day, but a little bit of time, a little bit of attention, a little bit of focus, a little bit of risk, and a little bit of a bet on yourself, and you're ready to get in there and really focus and do smart work to improve your skill set in order to buy yourself a lifestyle by design like I've been able to do, then I have an offer for you that essentially eliminates any objection or any potential risks that can come up outside of the risk of us just following that directions. Our mentorship program, we now have an other people's money option to be able to get into it with a scholarship type tuition assistance where it can cost you about $600 a month. And what we do in there is we teach you everything you know about the business, not just the numbers. This is just 1/50th of it, but how to find deals, how to analyze deals, how to understand the different contracts and all that kind of stuff, how to deal with contractors, how to pay contractors, how to deploy numerous exit strategies. You can sell the rights to this contract to someone else. You can flip the house yourself. You can convert it into a rental and make mailbox money. Like, there are so many things in the house flipping game that allow you to make profit. So many options. That's why I call this the gateway drug. And there's no other type of real estate investing you should be getting into if you understand that this is the way to financial freedom and you want to give yourself as many profitable options as possible. House flipping is the answer, and we can help you become a top 1% house flipper by helping you master the basics, helping you grow your business, providing you with lenders, providing you with a network of contractors, providing you with a network of thousands of investors all across the country, and as something that we just added to the mentorship program, an exclusive lead flow, deal source of properties that a lot of times people other places in the country haven't seen. Exclusive type off-market properties. There's everything in that group, plus coaching, plus live training every day of the week except for Sundays. And we've done it at a price point that it's not free and it's not cheap, but it's the best possible investment that one can make into themselves, only if they're serious. If that's you, I would definitely, recommend or invite you to book a call through the link below, talk to someone on my team to see if it's a good fit. Maybe a good fit, may not, and that's fine either way. We're doing just fine flipping houses like this, but there's so much opportunity out there for everybody to get their hands on. It's an abundance game. So if this stuff speaks to you and it's something that you'd like to add to your repertoire, I'd invite you to book that call. If not, we'll see you on the next string of content that we put out. But if so, I'll see you on the other side, and I'm excited to work with you. Either way, it's your boy Jake, favorite investor. Happy investing.